Something made me stop that day. A rusty pickup sat on the side of the highway. A police car was parked ahead with its hood open. The sun was bright. Cars rushed past. It looked like a normal breakdown. But the second I stepped out with my toolbox, I saw the officer's face. My heart nearly stopped. I knew him. I hadn't seen him in years. Yet one look was enough to pull me back to the worst day of my life. And suddenly, I couldn't hear the traffic anymore. Only the past. My name is Ethan Carter. For years, I believed I had buried that part of my life. I was wrong. I became a single father long before I was ready. I was 38. I owned a small repair shop outside a quiet town. Every morning, I dropped my 10-year-old son, Noah, at school. Then I spent the day fixing other people's cars. Grease covered my hands. Small burns covered my fingers. Bills never stopped coming. Some weeks I barely kept the lights on, but I never complained. I just kept moving, because if I stopped, the memories always came back. That morning, I decided to leave work early. I wanted to surprise Noah with lunch. Nothing special, just burgers from his favorite place. I smiled as I drove. Then I noticed a police cruiser on the shoulder. The hood was open. The hazard lights blinked slowly. I grabbed my toolbox without thinking. Helping stranded drivers had become a habit. I figured it would be a dead battery, or maybe a loose belt, just another quick repair. I had no idea what was waiting for me. The officer stepped closer. He took off his sunglasses. The moment I saw his eyes, everything inside me froze. It was Officer Ryan Brooks. Older, more tired, more lines on his face. But it was him, the same man who stood beside me in a hospital hallway years ago. The same day my whole life fell apart. I still remember that day. My son had just been born. I should have been celebrating. Instead, I was standing alone in a hospital. My wife never made it there. A reckless driver hit her. She never came home. Officer Ryan Brooks was the one assigned to the case. He stayed long after everyone else left. A few days later, he found the driver. He looked me in the eyes and quietly said, "I'm sorry, Ethan. I wish justice could erase pain. But sometimes it can't." I never forgot those words, or the kindness in his voice. Now, he was standing right in front of me, and neither of us knew what to say. For a second, I thought about getting back into my truck, driving away, pretending I never stopped. Instead, I opened the hood of his cruiser. The smell of war metal helped steady my hands. I focused on the engine, anything to keep my emotions under control. The problem wasn't serious. A loose connection, a quick fix. My hands moved on their own. Years of experience made it easy, but I could feel him watching me, trying to remember, trying to place my face. Then our eyes met. His expression changed. His shoulders relaxed. He remembered, not a mechanic, not a stranger, the man whose life had changed forever. Neither of us spoke. We didn't have to. Some moments don't need words. They only need understanding. A few minutes later, I closed the hood. "It should start now," I said quietly. He nodded. "Thank you." I wiped my hands on an old rag. I was ready to leave, before the memories became too heavy. Then I noticed his face. He looked exhausted, not physically, emotionally, like someone who had carried other people's pain for years. That's when something hit me. That terrible day hadn't only changed my life, it had changed his too. I went home to an empty house, a crying baby, a future I never expected. He went back to work, to another case, another family, another tragedy. But somehow, he had never forgotten mine. Before I could leave, he reached inside his cruiser. He pulled out a small folded card. At first, I thought it was a ticket. Instead, he handed it to me. "Take a look," he said. I opened it. It had the name of a local community fund. I stared at it. I knew that name. Years ago, when money was almost gone, someone helped me. They paid for childcare. Groceries appeared when my refrigerator was empty. Small acts of kindness kept me and Noah going. The support was always anonymous. I never knew who sent it. I looked up. "What is this?" I asked. He smiled softly. "You deserved help. I only made sure someone reached you." For a second, I couldn't speak. "You." I whispered. "It was you." He nodded. "I couldn't change what happened, but I didn't want you fighting alone." My throat tightened. For years, I believed I survived by myself. I was wrong. Someone had been standing beside me the whole time. I just never knew it. I got back into my truck. I started driving. A few miles later, I pulled over again. I couldn't see the road anymore. My eyes filled with tears. I sat there quietly, thinking about how close I came to driving past that broken police car, How close I came to never knowing the truth. That afternoon, I picked Noah up from school. "What's the surprise?" he asked with a grin. I smiled. "Burgers." His eyes lit up. "Really? Really?" We sat outside under the warm sun. He laughed with ketchup on his face. For the first time in years, something inside me finally felt lighter. The days passed, but I couldn't stop thinking about that meeting. So I started changing, little by little. On weekends, I repaired cars for families who couldn't afford it. Sometimes they tried to pay me. I just smiled. "Take care of your family," I told them. "That's enough." One evening, Noah asked about his mom. Usually, I changed the subject. Not this time. I told him stories. How she laughed. How she danced in the kitchen. How much she loved him before he was even born. We both smiled. We both cried. But this time, the memories didn't hurt the same way. I finally understood something. Healing doesn't always arrive with big moments. Sometimes, it shows up quietly, on the side of a sunny highway, inside a broken police car, or through someone who never stopped caring, even after all those years. A few weeks later, a letter arrived at my repair shop. No return address. Inside was a short note. It read, "Thank you for stopping. You reminded me why kindness still matters." I smiled, folded the letter carefully, and placed it inside my wallet, right beside an old picture of Noah as a baby. That was the day I stopped believing I had survived alone. Because sometimes, the people who help carry your pain never ask for credit. They simply choose kindness, and they quietly walk away. I still think about Officer Ryan Brooks whenever I see a police cruiser on the road. Not because he reminds me of the worst day of my life, but because he reminds me that even in our darkest moments, there are still people who choose compassion. And sometimes, that changes everything.